Converting between fractions, decimals, percents will be a lifelong skill, and we're going to hone that skill today. So starting to go from fractions to decimals, we're just going to exist here for a little bit. You need to turn your, let's take 3/5 for examples. There's two ways to go about this. For 3/5 and 3/8, when in doubt, you can always just divide it out. And so we're just going to do 3 divided by 5. 5 goes into 3 0 times. Now you know we are going to need a decimal, and we're going to need to annex some zeros. I'm not sure how many. I'm going to do 3 for now. I'm going to break my decimal up here. And now 5 goes into 36 times. Looks like I didn't need to annex all those zeros. So 3/5 is the same thing as the decimal 6/10. Now wait, 6/10 sounds awfully familiar. Yeah, it should be. Because I could have thought, oh wait, 3/5, can I change this into some sort of tenths? Oh yeah, I multiplied by 2. Oh cool, so that would give me 6/10, so sweet, look, there I am. Now 3/8, it might not be immediately apparent to you that 8 is a factor of 1000, and that's fine. Actually, if you do 8 times 125, you would get 1000. So I'm going to do 3 times 125, and so I will get 375 thousandths. Now how do I change that into a decimal? Well, I just keep saying it, 375 thousandths, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 375 thousandths. That's exactly what this decimal is. Now, if you weren't sure though, maybe recognizing that 8 goes into 1000 125 times is not what you remember. So when in doubt, divide it out. So 3 divided by 8. Eight goes into 60, 7 times. Oh sweet, 8 goes into 45 times. Cool. So when in doubt, divide it out, or look for a power of 10 that you can get to. So if you had 7/20ths, a power of 10 that might come to mind would be 100, and so we multiply the numerator and denominator by 5, and we'd have 35 hundredths. So that means I get 0.35, 35 hundredths, tenths, hundredths. So my 5 should be in the hundredths point. Percentages, I want you to think about the percentage as it's per 100. And honestly, the percent symbol, I have a feeling, used to stem from over 100. And somehow somebody just kept writing it, and it eventually became this strange percent symbol. But I think it has something to do with somebody quickly writing out of 100. I just made that up. I have no idea if that's true, but it makes sense to me. So percent is per 100. So when you see this percentage sign, that actually has a numerical value. That means 1 over 100. Or in decimal form, that would be 0.01 or 1/100th. So if you have, a decimal of 0.75, how do you turn that into a percent? So my percent symbol is gonna mean 0.01. So what number times 0.01 would give me 0.75? So I'd get 75. So what I really have is 75, and this value is actually a percent. So 0.75 equals 75%. And if you don't want to go through that process, just what you can remember is you want to move your decimal place to the right 2 times in order to get your percentage. Another way to think about this is your percentage numeric value should be bigger than your decimal. So 723 is bigger than just plain 7. Now, these values are completely equivalent. I'm just pointing out that just simply the numeric value without the percentage sign, the percent numeric value is bigger. And you know why? Because this actually has a value. this is actually 1 over 100th. So because you have this dividing by 100, that's why this value is going to seem smaller, because this value is bigger and it gets multiplied by 1 over 100. And if you think about it that way, you are taking 723.7 and dividing it by 100, so you should be making it smaller, and you should move it, the decimal point, 2 places to get 7.237. So let's practice going from decimals to percents. So we would have 275%. We are going to move our decimal 2 times, 560%. Another way, something that might help you remember, is if you remember that 100% is just the same thing as 1. Now, 0.04, if you move your decimal 2 times, you will just get 4%. Now, what if I gave you 7.25%? What is that as a decimal? Well, remember, your percent value should have a larger numeric symbol than your decimal value. So I know I should be moving my decimal to the left, so I should get 0.0725. Now, how do I change all of these into fractions? One technique is just to simply take your 2.75, you have your whole number, and you write out that it is 75 hundredths. Tenths, hundredths place, so you have 75 hundredths. Now don't forget to simplify. Oh my goodness, that will be a really rough spot for you. And by the way, let's make some of these negative. Come on, we're in the rationals unit. So I'll have -2, and when I simplify 75 hundredths, I will get 3/4. And that makes sense. I know that 3/4 is 0.75, so that makes sense to me. Cool, 5.6, that's the same thing as 5 and 6/10. So simplify it, 5 and 3/5. -0.04, it's the same thing as -4 over 100. And so I'll simplify it, and I'll get -1 over 25. Another way I could have gone about this is recognize that I have -4 times 1 over 100, and I go ahead and I simplify this, and I get -1 over 25. So you can use the fact that your percentage is a 1 over 100, and that can often help you very quickly get to your fractional value. So let's now process this one. So I have 725 over tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. So now I'm going to have to go ahead and simplify that. I'm going to divide them both by 25, and sometimes this just takes some work. So let's divide by 25. I'll get 2. I will get, let's see, 8 would be 200, so I'll get 9. Let's just check that. Plus a 4, 18 and a 4. Yep, cool. So 725 divided by 25 is going to be 29. Now, what is 10,000 divided by 25? Well, I know that 100 divided by 25 is 4, and I just need these 2 more zeros. So I'll get 400. And if I wanted to check that, I could, if you're allowed, I could take a calculator and do 29 divided by 400, and I should get this decimal.